Okay, it says I am live again. Oh, and I can hear myself on my phone. And hopefully, this doesn't turn into a second stream on my site. All right, let me first of all get rid of myself off of my phone so I don't hear things here. Yeah, that was my video card just went and I had sparkles all over and I knew that it was gone. This will be interesting, but so I went back into YouTube, turned this to unlisted just so people don't get another notification of me going live. And the chat it's the same chat, so we'll see if I end up picking up here. Also getting a yellow thing for stream health, but anyways. All right, so I just have a little window here just to correct here on things. Yeah, sorry, Chuck. That's tough. That's a huge loss. I heard that news story this morning too. Let me catch up. Just catch up reading here. Okay, yeah, 15,000 jobs. Yeah, it's a horrible time of the year for it too. I mean, there's never a good time of year for that, but it's just it just seems to be one of those things that happens at Christmas time so often. So yeah, and it is the smaller companies. I was thinking that this morning when I heard the story about that, how yeah, it's not only just that, but it's everywhere that everybody eats and buys groceries. Who works for that and supplies the parts, and it's super huge, a super huge deal. So yeah. All right, so you guys are looking at me. Let's bring up this chat window here. I think that is what we're looking for. That's showing the screen. There we go. That'll pop the chat up. No more chat right now because I think this is new. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with going live again on this. Shows. Yeah, it's not showing me stream information from 1133. But check the video resolution. The current resolution is 1920 by 1080, which is not optimal. Huh. Oh, that's just because I didn't like the stream there. Okay. Anyways, we're back. And then the Zoom call. Huh. So many things. Let me just go back into... Oh, I've lost the link for that. Hey, if someone who has a wrench next to their name, if you want to go up if you can see in the chat, if you can still see the link for the Zoom call, put it in there and I'll join in. If you're just tuning in now, my computer crashed, and so we've resumed the stream, and we'll see what kind of mess ends up. We did get through the main part of today's live stream, so that's going to be fine. It's just going to be an awkward ending. There's Vinny with that there. We'll click on that. Hopefully it is still going. There I am. And I'm using the computer audio. Okay. Not that we were talking much in there, but that's all right. Oh, hey, Vinny.
Hello.
And actually, when my computer crashed, it rebooted super fast. It took me as long to find out which one of my USB cords was plugging into my mouse, was my mouse plugging into the CPU, because my mouse did not come back. So, Vinny has not had very much sleep. Well, you went to bed what time? You went to bed what time?
I went to bed probably about 10:30 my time.
Oh my goodness, you stayed up even later because
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't go right to bed. I did not want to get up when 1 o'clock hit, so I hit the Alexa snooze button. So, I made it.
Yes, you did, and here you are.
And did everybody get their free download of Joomla on Black Friday?
Yeah.
I
Well,
told you, you didn't say it. I would.
I know you have to. We'll have to see in chat if they did.
Yeah, that's the exact response I was hoping for, Chuck.
Let's see here. I'm trying to catch up on what's going on my screen here. Trying to find a chat.
No, honestly, Chuck, you'll have to ask Tim about that because he's the one that told me about it.
Um, yes, in the Joomla Facebook group, someone asked if there's any Black Friday deals on Joomla. And someone said, yes, on Black Friday you can download Joomla for free. Sometimes people are really helpful in that. Although that was a funny exchange. So, no, and I bet you I know what's making things a little bit slow right here is this call is being recorded on Zoom as well. I'm just trying to get everything together. Yeah, so that was in the Joomla Facebook group. That is a good Facebook group. Sushil was asking me, what is there a CyberSalt Facebook group? Yes, there is. Let me go to Facebook on this. That's what I was doing when things crashed. Go to Facebook and we'll go to my CyberSalt. The CyberSalt site. All right, so then we can go to the full screen with the camera. Here we are. Notice I've not set this up. I don't even have a cover on it. Although I do pretty well on this. I have over 3,000 likes to this page over the years. But you can go to facebook.com/cybersalt site, Sushil. And that is, I'm not really quite sure what to do with this site. I used to send out a lot of things when I was adding content every day. Funny pictures, jokes, sermon illustrations, things like that. I hardly post anything anymore to that. I'm been sending out a lot of reruns. I did post this article here from a fellow that sends me content every week. But yeah, this is sort of, and you'll see here's my old logo, which is what I call the, I forget what I call it, the shaker logo, I guess. Yeah, so another page that I do have on Facebook that seems to be a little bit more, that seems to be branded a bit better is this one here. There we go. The basic Joomla tutorials page. There we go. And so I actually should update the header on this as well. You know how it is. There's just no end of things to do. But this is, of course, the old layout of my office, and where I share different tutorials. So I get not too bad there. This one is a lot more together as far as content. Of course, that's what I'm adding to it. So. All right, let's just close that. You can see pictures of all my friends. All right, so 9 minutes elapsed time. Oh, YouTube's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Although it seems to be.
Fine.
What's that?
It looks fine.
Yeah, I think it looks fine too. It might just be an old message or something, but. All right. Well, what else is happening? Anyone else have any projects they want to share?
I don't.
You don't?
No.
I wonder if Mary has a project to share. I don't know if Mary's there or not, but
She was earlier.
oh yeah, okay. Because Vinny and I were talking, and Vinny's thought that it seemed that Mary was always working on sites. So we figured, what did we figure? What did you figure? She's either killing it or
She made deal with the devil.
no, that wasn't it. Forget.
Wake up, Mary! Wake up!
She might be out with the goats.
Yes, those charming little goats.
Why don't we do this? Just this worked out kind of fun last week. Remember last week we went to that Facebook group for extensions, extension developers.
I think the answer to your
I see
question.
it. Yeah, Chuck just posted that. Perfect companions / oak.
No, I was actually going to Ivar's question about template creator CK, and I think Mary uses it.
Oh, okay, good. I missed that one here. Oh, has anyone tried template creator CK? Is that what she showed us that one day?
I think that's the one she uses for her to build her templates. I believe so.
Okay. All right. Well, let's look at that. But first of all, I've got so we'll talk about that in a second. But I opened up the web page that Chuck has here, perfectcompanions.org. He said a review would be helpful. He says it's still in development. Well, the first thing I notice here is that I think that there's some sort of copyright infringement here. I think Disney's going to go after you for the Shrek thing. Is that Pixar or Disney or?
Aren't they owned by the same people?
Yeah, I don't know. Cool, and this is on my big screen here, so. Oh, that's neat. Look how that guy just popped in down there. That's cool. Nifty. I think I think this, Chuck, this, I think a while ago, this is when you were having problems getting stuff to show up in mobile, the actual content.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it looks good. It's nice and colorful. I think, from my perspective, I find this a little bit hard to read so much of that font. It's a great show font, but maybe the key information, like I think maybe eyes get a little bit tired reading that heavy font so much. So like if you've got A Christmas Story, the musical area premiere, and then have all the other information in something that's a bit easier, it will also set out itself. So that's just the one thought that I have just from looking at that. But that's a fat font too, but I don't want to body shame any fonts. I mean, that's not what we're here for. So
And avoid using capital all the time.
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think that will just grab. Yeah, like for instance here, this bottom here at the, I'm blocking some of it, but this is nice. You've got the big bold title, and then here my eyes just go right to that, and it's great. So, but it's good. Yeah, you've done a lot of work on this since the last time that when you're jammed with that problem. He bought the rights. He bought the rights to use the Shrek image. Great. Add to cart. There are no events in my cart. I haven't bought anything yet. Okay.
Well, you better get on that.
Oh, okay. So you have to click, and then so that's something that I do with my top menus. I know the top menu makes sense that that's going to open up the page for the season, but as soon as you mouse over it, sometimes people see, like I just did, add to cart, and they just click on the first one. So what I do is I make the tab clickable, but then I also add another link in the drop down, so people have another option besides just the one option. And so then they would end up going to the 2018-2019 season by clicking on something like purchase tickets here, and add to cart.
Yeah, what is that button going to do? Add to cart. What is it adding to cart?
I think it looks like that's where you can view your cart, because it says there's no events in your cart. So I think he's probably and I know I've done that with setting up shopping carts, where you create a link to the cart, but the title got picked from somewhere else. So even if that said view your cart, and then have another link at the top that said buy your tickets, then that would good. Well, listen, Chuck, Chuck says, "Dang, you guys are good." The advantage of, you see all this stuff that I break trying to do things is that, listen, is if you want a dumb guy to look to try to break something, then send me the link, and then Vinny hangs out and fixes it.
Yeah. Is that what
Although
it is?
although
Well,
last night we were on I Love Old Time Radio on Vinny's site, and I was trying some things, and then so he benefited from the dumb guy tour last night as well. So
actually, it's always good to. I think that's a service you should
yeah,
sell to him.
dumb guy for hire.
Have the dumb guy test your website.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a service. It really is. It's a valuable service. We were talking about it last night. That sometimes because you're so invested in your website and you see it all the time, you miss things
Yeah,
so easily.
yeah,
So to have somebody who is not attached to the project, um, come in and look at it, it's very helpful
yeah,
because then you also get an idea of how other people will browse your site.
yeah. And you know what? I've built sites for clients, and then I've been met with them to show them, and they're checking it out, and then I've gone, oh, I had no idea that. Oh, I would never have thought that they'd try to do that. Oh, okay. Let me fix a few things. So I think it's just the advantage of, it's probably just the advantage of feedback from users, right?
Probably.
All right. Yeah, Chuck says he knows the drop down has two columns. Yeah. I don't know if it's two columns or if it's just the CSS for how wide it's going to end up with the other things moving over. But it might be set to two columns. Well, it's like you said this site is in development, Chuck? Because there's a show on Friday night, so you better get cracking, McCracken. Yeah, it looks like you're pretty close to. Oh, look, you got a lot of cool stuff here. Special offer. Oh, okay, that's off at the side. Nice. I saw that pop up on the page. You can close that. There we go. And we give it the big mobile-friendly test. There you go. Tablet, phone. And the menu's up here where people can see it. That's good. Sometimes it gets lost behind things in the background. Magic X Autopilot. Why not make an evening of it? And there's those people popping up. Cool.
Another suggestion, and you can choose to whether or not to keep it or not, but to limit the movement once per on the screen so it doesn't happen every time you scroll up and down, but only on first view. Because there's such a thing. It's too much of a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, I guess, I mean, I'm scrolling up and down here, so there's that. But if you end up going back to a page, and then that all happens again. So.
But if you're scrolling up and down on a single page, you've already seen it do the fancy animation.
Yeah.
You don't see it every time you scroll up and down on the page.
Yeah.
Of course, when you reload the page or come back to a page, it's going to happen, which is fine. But if you're on the page and you keep scrolling up and down and the text is bouncing around so much all the time, it might prove a little distracting.
Yeah. This picture here, and I just always notice this because I have 21-inch screen, right? So I have big screens. That resolution there is a lot better than on the big screen. But I also know that's just a matter of page load time. So some of these images could be quite big. So, and of course, it's going to look awesome on mobile. So,
And I tend to use sometimes And some people may say I overuse it, but I tend to put a little shadow on some font, especially if it's over images.
Yeah.
As you can see with the Glinda picture, when you're in mobile, it's very hard to read some of that font.
Oh, this,
Um,
yeah, this here. Yeah.
Scroll down and look at the Glenda picture, which I'm sure you're.
Oh, is that Glenda?
No, that's Fiona.
No, that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry,
That's Glenda.
you're watching the. Okay, I don't know
Yeah.
these people personally.
I don't know them either, but I know the show. But you see how some of her the text, because it's over her,
Yeah.
it's white on white. It's very hard to see. If
Yeah.
you add a little shadow to it, little CSS shadow.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and that's where I don't
that's
know.
what I do too, Chuck. But
Um,
I think you might want to see Glenda on the mobile. But I'll tell you, you add a little shadow, the words just pop.
yeah. Okay, that's a good catch too.
Are we nitpicking? I don't
No,
know.
no, no. I think it's good. All right, and then Ivor was talking about template creator. It does ring a bell.
I guess Mary never made it back to the live stream.
Well, you guys didn't get kicked out. I just did it just start playing again on your screens?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But she must have thought, oh, now's my chance to get out of her early for a change.
God, just can't listen to them talk for 2 hours.
Check out their video here. Is there going to be sound? Uh-oh. Edit anything you like. Anything like you want. Template Creator, CK. Check out our demo now. Oh, and you know what? That's interesting. That almost looks like a logo that I used a while ago. Another company for me to contact and see if they want some voice narration. I wonder where they are. A lot of people do not like.
I believe they're France.
Yeah, so a lot of people do not like the sound of their voice, and often. Oh, Cedric. I won't kill his last name there. Keiflin. They got a book here too. Free templates, Joomla 3, 200 pages to start your. Best here. Why don't I just click on English here? Although I was reading English. No, it's still a French description on that. 200 pages to start your template. A to Z Joomla. If I click on it, maybe they've got it. Book for creating templates. Oh, it's probably in French book. Oh, initiation, HTML and CSS document. Oh yeah, it's in French. It's a French book, so that's why they're not translating it.
You want me to review?
Have the description in English so people buy it, and then it comes in French, and then they're all upset.
Yeah.
Apprenez, that's the one. Apprenez créer votre pro template. Something your template, your Joomla 3 template from A to Z, or Z in Canada. The book contains 320 pages with a tutorial on what's Apprenez.
You know, my last name may be Abear, but
Well, I'm only asking because you said you want it translated. Oh, learn. Okay, it's learn. This is the result of a few years of French in high school that they forced me to have when I was a teenager. To learn create. I bet it's create a template, a standard template, and a tutorial for you to learn how to create a template with Bootstrap. Something with the documentation, complete technical documentation for templates in Joomla 3. The book is divided into 3 parts. One is documentation technique complete with your... Anyways, okay. I'm getting there. Like I've said before, I know enough French to start a war.
I know even less than that.
Yeah. So Ivor, I think that Mary has used it. And I think that when we got into it and looked, it was pretty good. Vinny was just telling me too about a program that he's bought that will create templates for Joomla, and it starts out with a WYSIWYG moving things around and doing things. But you haven't done much with it, you were saying.
No, and I was just thinking because of Joomla 4 coming out with Bootstrap 4 and the templates that I've used recently. Artiseer is actually, I believe they have, that's what Nights Pages is now. But I don't build my own templates.
Yeah.
I've been using Gantry for a little while now, and I like Gantry. So
I mentioned that last week because someone asked on the channel if I would do a tutorial on how to create a template, and I don't create them either. I don't know, using Template Creator here, would this, and it's not dissing the extension, but would this be this? It's not the same as creating a template, because you're using a product that makes one, but you're not creating one. And I kind of understood that person's question in the context of, I would like to start out from scratch and create a template in Joomla. How do I do that? And I don't know. I mean, because I could have just said, I suppose, go to get an extension where you can create them. But
see, I look at it this way. It takes a lot of time to write something from scratch.
Yeah.
And if I'm making templates, if that's what I'm doing, is if I'm making templates for other people to use, or I think it's one thing. But if I'm busy doing lots of other things, I don't have time. I mean, that's why there's a template system. Other people are really good at making these templates, and I got to go with my strengths. Could I code a template from scratch? Yes, I could. Would it take me a really long time? Yes, it would. Is it worth the money or my time? I mean, if I put my time as a value, is it worth it for me to do it? Or would it be better spent working on other parts of the website? And I have to answer, for me, yes, it does. Do I feel a little bit of, because I come from an old school notepad and code background. That's when I first built websites.
Yeah.
I was doing it by scratch, like that code. Wasn't using Dreamweaver or anything like that. I was using straight out code.
Yeah.
But do I feel like I'm not one of those gung ho people where you have to use code all the time. I think it's important for any web developer to know some basic HTML and to know some CSS. And I don't think you can call yourself a web developer if you don't know those things. But I don't think you have to code everything by hand, because there are resources out there that already do it for you.
Yep.
And I think a lot of software, that's why they have software libraries. If you look at building an application for Windows or something like that, they already have software libraries already built. That's what those little DLL files are. Mm-hmm. That other people have already compiled and put together, and you're just using their code already. I don't think Peter even writes. I think some of the code he uses, he borrows from other sources. just because it's out there, it's available, and it's quicker sometimes if you already know somebody or know code that's already doing what you needed to do. You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he does that or not, but yeah. And I mean, because everybody has a level. It's like childbirth. I have I have lots of experience with childbirth, but of course I have no experience with childbirth. But everyone has, there's some people that want to you just give them a steel wrench to bite down on, and they want to have the kid. And then there's other people that they want to have something a little more comfortable, but they want to have it at home. And there's people that's like, just take me to the hospital and cut it out. So, and when I say people, I mean we're talking about women, of course. But everybody's got something that gives them that they're trying to do the right thing, but they're trying to do something that works for them. So perhaps it's ridiculous for men to use pregnancy as an example, anyways. But my point is this: is that there are people that really like to code their own stuff, and so it's like, oh, I don't want to use someone else's template. I want to make my own template. But they clearly do have a tipping point for what they want to do themselves and what they will use from other people because they're using Joomla, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to have my own access control list system. I don't want to use the existing one. I'll build my own. And it's like, okay. So everybody has a certain point where they're using something else in order to accomplish their goals. So
Exactly. Um, but I will say that if you only build sites using like a WYSIWYG editor and you do not know how to change things via the code,
yeah,
personally, I don't think you can really call yourself a web developer. And that's just me personally.
yeah.
I'm not degrade.
No,
But
yeah, no, because you can build sites. I mean, I'm not. I All of my program training was in grade 9 in high school. Very, very basic programming on a Commodore PET, and we learned to program in BASIC. So I learned about opening tags and closing tags and this loops and the basics of that. And then I played around with BASIC more just on my own when I got my first home PC, and then that's it. But I can. So when I go to a forum and they say go to line 70 whatever and change this to this, I can go in there. It's not like, oh, I don't understand code, I don't look at it. I understand the general principle of it, and I could, so I could play around a bit. But I'm at the bottom. I am the halibut, although a halibut is a big fish. Sole is a small one. I am the sole of programmers. And it's a flat fish that just swims along flat on the bottom of the water looking for stuff to eat. I'm not a shark up at the top by any means.
well,
But
if you're my soul, then I'm in trouble.
what's that?
If you're my soul, I'm in trouble.
But the other, but it's totally legit. Building sites, using tools, starting out with a template and changing things. And I think whatever level that you're working at, and whatever level that you're trying to do, you're always going to be improving anyways. I don't think there's anybody that thinks, oh, I'm just going to plug this in like collecting stamps, and I'll do it 9 to 5, and that'll be that. Although there probably are people that do that.
Well, I mean, we were talking about it a little bit earlier with Wix, and I showed you a few sites of someone who thought, well, I don't want to pay him to develop a site. I could just build it in Wix, and it looks like I mean, this is a business site that looks like it was done by someone who is throwing up a quick website for, how'd you put it? You can't remember that far back, huh?
I got dumber and dumber as the light got later and later, but
But it looked like someone just put up it was like a personal site. It didn't look like
right. That site you're talking about. Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, it looked like instead of looking like a brand for what they were doing, it looked like they were just putting up a personal site to talk about their hikes or something like that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't
So
seem commercial or business oriented.
right.
Yeah,
And
Ivor said
shopping cart.
what's that?
This was a shopping cart that they wanted people to buy their product,
Yeah,
and it's like I didn't feel like I would want to give them money for their product because of the way their site looked. And that's it's like going into a brick and mortar store and it being set up as a daycare or whatever, and they're selling fine china.
yeah.
It's like that's not
I
really
I
and
would
asking for like $3,000 for something.
I would pay to watch a daycare that sold China though. I would buy. I would I'd pony up $20 for half an hour to watch that actually.
You can't understand why we're going through so much inventory. These
Yeah.
kids are relentless.
Yes. Ivor says he thinks a little CSS would also be good. Yeah, and I mean CSS is I mean I guess it's technically not coding.
No, it's coding. CSS is a language.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a language that needs another language
Yeah.
to work. So it needs HTML to work.
Yeah.
But it's still a language.
Yeah, and that was I was just thinking. It doesn't run on its own, but no, it is a language.
I like how like when we're reading the chat, we just get really silent.
Yeah, so it is.
That's not proper way of doing this.
Ivor says in Thailand he saw a sign that said "Husband Daycare Center."
Oh, cool. I just saw a meme about a Japanese, and I can't repeat the word that they use, but they don't know the translations of English and use the
Oh.
F word improperly
Oh,
in a
okay.
sign about a sale.
Yeah. Further up, Ivor said that the template creator CK will be compatible in in Joomla 4 soon when a stable version comes out. Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of going along with what I'm thinking about Gantry and some of the templates I use now. Some of the templates I use right now are from Inspire Theme, and I really like them. I really like them, but they use the UI kit,
Yeah.
something until I use their templates I had never heard of before. And UI kit is very much like Bootstrap. It's just another thing of CSSs that are out there that help do different things for your website. But with Joomla 4 coming out and it's going to be Bootstrap 4 ready, do I want to use a different I'm trying to think of the word for what those are, because I know there's a word for it and it's right there on the tip of my tongue. And if anybody in the chat could help feed me that word, but like what is Bootstrap and UI kit, what are they called? Framework.
Okay.
That's for framework. So with Joomla 4 being in Bootstrap 4, do I want another framework that I'm working in that kind of counteracts what Joomla is being built on?
Yeah. It's yeah, it'll be interesting when Joomla 4 comes out because it's going to be different. The back end looks very different just from what I've seen. So
We're finally getting a proper media manager. We're proper a proper media manager.
years ago, I saw an interesting video talking about paradigm shifts. I mean, paradigm shift was a buzzword about 15 years ago, probably still is. And what they said was that every time a paradigm shifts, everybody starts over at zero. So an example would be the digital watch was invented by the Swiss in just as sort of a fun thing the guys were working on in development, and they took it to their bosses and they said, look at this, and the bosses said, that's not a watch. It doesn't have, you don't wind it. It doesn't have hands. Blah 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 blah. It's not a watch. So they did nothing with it, but for fun, they put it on display as a novelty at a convention. And I don't know if it was Japan or Korea. The delegates or the people from companies there saw it and they went, oh. And because the Swiss didn't even bother patenting it. And so that's how the Swiss went from having something like 80 or 90% of the watch market in the world to having 10%, because the paradigm shifted, and it didn't matter that you made the best wind-up watches in the world. Now, when people wanted digital, they didn't think, oh, well, we better get digital watch from the Swiss. And so a similar thing happened with IBM. I think it was IBM. A fellow figured out that if you shine light onto a plate, a metal plate, and you put some black powder on it, the black powder stuck to where the light hit the plate. So you could put a triangle shape over the plate. He's just playing around with it. So he takes it to IBM and says, hey, look what I can do. And they said, no, it was Kodak. Takes it to Kodak and says, hey, look what I can do. Look at this. And Kodak said, well, that's not taking a picture. That's there's no lens, there's no film or nothing. What are we going to do with that? So they did nothing. So that guy, guess where he went next? He went
Polaroid.
to Xerox.
Oh, them.
Yeah. And Xerox said, whoa, look at this. And they made the photocopier. So Kodak passed up on the photocopier. And you think Kodak would like to have the photocopier now with digital and no more film and stuff like that? I knew some people retired from Kodak. They were in Toronto, and they'd been executives and high up in the company, and that was painful for them. So it'll be interesting with Joomla 4 when it comes out. Like for instance, I like rocket themed templates, but is something going to come out that is just so smoking good that works with Joomla 4 that people start jumping over to it? You never know. So,
and it's a lot to wonder about how things are going to change. Is Joomla going to be the same Joomla that we all like now? And I have to venture a guess that it's not going to be so much different that it's going to look like a new product, that we're going to be like, well, this is not the old Joomla. I'd rather be legacy. I'm Joomla 1.5 for life. That's the kind of thing. Yeah, if you're one of those people that says I'm Joomla 1.5 for life and will never upgrade, just give me the link to your website, and I will show you why you should be upgrading your website.
Yeah. Here's someone here. Why don't we watch this together? This is actually from January 23rd. I wonder if I can find something sooner here.
Chuck, I don't know if it's going to be a huge learning curve. I just think things are going to be like, well, because there's a whole because if you've been like me, I've been using the ISIS template in the back of Joomla like forever, it seems. And so their new template is going to be so different. And that in itself is just going to be a new look. And I like the new looks. I like when things upgrade and they look different and they look flat and they look spiffy to me, and I like that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you, like, my girlfriend does not like it when things change and things are not the same way as how she learned them. And so that kind of change is going to be upsetting to some people, is because not so much I think developers, but I think for users of websites, our clients, they're the ones that are going to be like, can we just go back to the old way? I don't like this new way.
Yeah, no, I've thought of that because I have some that, I just installed ACY Mailing version 6 the other day. Now, the nice thing is that it installs separately. It didn't take over version 5, but it's so different. Like, I couldn't even figure out how to make a new newsletter. And I thought, oh boy, I got clients using this. I'm going to have to be ready to say, oh, well, here's the latest version, and hey, don't worry, you just do this. It's the same. Here's the basic things that you were doing before. But it's going to be that. And again,
that's not a good thing. That if you were creating a program that its entire thing is to create newsletters, and the person who uses it can't figure out how to make a new newsletter, then somewhere you failed in your UI.
Well, yes, except what they had before was newsletters and they had campaigns. And so basically, when you create it, I could make a newsletter and send it out today, but then I could create a campaign that used that newsletter. And so the campaign would run and say, send this anyone who subscribes the today, send them this newsletter, and then in 3 days, send them this one as a reminder. Just a sec here. Send this one as a reminder, and then but what they've done, I figured out, is that now each newsletter is a campaign. So it does make sense, and I suppose I could have, maybe they have some way to read that or something. I just downloaded and started looking at it. But yeah, so what they did made sense. It's just I just could not figure out how to do it until I understood the difference. And that's so. For instance, if I go to this. Let me just go here. Full. No, it's this one here. This is a video I just found online. It's from January 2018, so things may have changed. But this is a look at the admin panel for Joomla 4. So someone's looking at it's up here at 4.0.0 dev. So some people, people that maybe have not done much with their website or have, faced with a big change like this, just in appearance, they may decide, oh, well, I'll try another system. Or they may, there's going to be people who say to their friends, oh, my website just changed to a new version and I'm trying to learn it. And they say, oh, well, you should use such and such. It's easy. And the person says, oh, really? Well, I'll try that, because they already have to learn something new anyways. But here, I'm going to click play and we'll see what happens on this video here. Someone is, and again, there's no sound on this. Users, so you got I noticed that they said they had the side menu for popping up in easy access, so they don't have the drop downs. So that's really just a layout thing, a way to order. Yeah. So I mean, this is just really all the current stuff. What's that? Components. Okay, you just learn your cube down at the side there, news feeds, and side menu again, mousing over, which is good. Probably going to maybe behave nicer on mobile as well. If you've ever logged into your Joomla admin area on your phone, it gets a little bit confusing. So this is almost like the mobile menu you get at the side. What are we at? Oh, menu items, home. Just click to go in there. New users always think WordPress is easier to use. I think it's way more difficult, so it depends on what you've learned. Yeah.
Hey, Tim?
Yeah.
Do you want to take a look at it live?
At what live?
Joomla 4.
Oh, I see.
I have Joomla 4 installed on, and we could actually take a look at it.
Oh, okay, sure. Let's then I will pause this here. Yeah, I've not installed it at all. I mean, Of course, I got to figure out what I did for a username and password. Oh yeah, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 is the username.
All right, I figured out how to log in. So I'm going to share my screen.
Yep.
And then we can take a look at it, because this is what I do. I download the versions and I play around with it too. So now I gotta figure out how to do.
Yeah.
It's like Windows open.
Just share that tab. Here we've got Tiny Tim on the screen waiting for you to share here, right in the middle there.
Very Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim. Tiptoe through the tulips.
All right, let me move that. Okay, and here we go and share. Let me know when you see it.
I see it.
Let me get rid of all this excess stuff. So this build, I'm not really sure which build it is.
That's Alpha 3.
Yeah, that's apparent now, Tim. Thanks a lot, man. Where would I be without you? So it's I like the video, but oh look, and I can install blog sample data right now, right from this, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, because they
Uh,
give you that option now in Joomla 3 as well.
oh, do they?
Yeah, you can add
I
sample
never.
data after. They created it so the extension developers can, um, you can add sample data or remove it. I think that's the goal, so you can have it in and then remove it when you want. But
Now I'll be honest. I really like this layout.
yeah,
Uh, I like the big in your face buttons at the top that give you some things to do. Um, I like the Joomla is up to date, extensions are up to date in that green, right up above, where it's not on the side and kind of hidden.
yeah,
I'm not sure if I like, because I don't know what all these buttons based on their icons are. I'm assuming this is users. Yep. And maybe articles and stuff. Nope.
menus.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. I'm assuming this is the media, which opens up into the media manager.
Yeah,
And I'm excited about this because um, it's you're properly going to have access to edit the names. Um, I believe you're going to be able to manipulate some of your images within Joomla. Um, so I'm excited about the new media manager. I mean, what are you excited? What are you looking forward to?
I'm not looking forward to anything because I've not thought too much about it and I haven't read up too much on it. And that's just probably where I'm at with. I mean, I just got a I just am now offering 7.1 on my second server, so that's where I'm at. But I think I do
Oh,
I do have a
that's nice, John. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
that's
you.
all right.
John just writes that with the new media manager, you can attach other file drives with media stored.
Oh, wow.
Or yeah,
You mean like on a computer
I'm not sure. I don't know if he means like
or
cloud storage or
Dropbox maybe? No. Um, I have a general confidence that each version of Joomla is getting better and supplies me with things that I want. And the nice thing is that some of the things I have no idea that I want until I see them. Okay, John says yes, Dropbox or file URLs.
oh.
Nice. Um,
Oh, I see how you. So you can remote link, but put them in your Joomla Media Manager
pull from
to
there.
act within there, but they're on other different locations, so
Yeah,
they're not necessarily in your Media Manager.
nice.
That is very cool.
Yeah, so whenever a new version of Joomla comes out, it's like, oh, that's great. So for instance, we knew that the 3.9.0 content templater, not content templater, privacy tool suite was out. I thought, that's cool, all right. And then suddenly they say, and you can also search the content of articles by typing content colon and then your search phrase in the search bar. And I think, oh, that's awesome. I didn't even know I wanted that.
I don't like. I like the way they have their boxes now in Joomla 3. I don't think I like this. I don't like going back to the, because I know that I can hit the control button and highlight multiple, but does everybody still not know that?
Yeah. Does
You know,
Joomla 4 allow assigning to more than one category?
well, I don't think so. I think that's what tags were for.
Yeah.
And let's just go check.
Well, I just saw
So,
you. Yeah, just saw you typing. You're hunting and pecking, selecting.
oh, that was field groups. Our,
Oh, okay.
um,
All right. No, I thought. Yeah, I just saw that.
yeah, there was one of the things in the fields that I would love for them to do.
John
No,
says example: a company has a file drive My picture here is wonky. Oh, here I can read. I can read that chat somewhere else. Example: a company has a file drive with media on. You can attach that URL instead of having to copy all files.
That's nice.
Cool.
That's nice. I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to be
No,
too
no.
different for anybody
Yeah,
who is coming from 3 to be able to work in.
yeah. No, I see. Yeah.
Um, I do say that in fields, as much as I don't know how to do this stuff, but one thing I want them to add, because down here with the filter, you can do a telephone. I want them to add an ability to have data done by regex. I want that.
Okay.
So integer, float, telephone, regex. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look that different. I mean, the layout is different, obviously, but I'm not sure I like the fact that when you're in an article, well, I guess a lot of times when you're in stuff, your menu up here is unavailable. But as I was saying, I do not think there's a whole lot of difference between. I mean, the template's a little different, but overall, I don't foresee us having too much of a difficulty.
No.
But
And there's Tiny Tim again.
there's Tiny Tim again. Oh, I stopped sharing. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Let's go to the chat there. Yeah, no, that doesn't look like it's too wild out and different. Everybody run. Prom Queen's got a gun.
What the heck?
Earlier I accidentally bumped the button on my stand-up desk, and there's a timer that you can 30 minutes, and it says, "Oh, you've been sitting for too long or standing or whatever." So
It looks like the same things are installed. You got your banners, your contacts, messaging.
yeah,
Everything like it's really the same. It's just this template is I think cleaner. It's by far easier for me to see.
yeah, yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, I'd heard that it was really different. I'd just seen some comments, but I should have just looked at it. Ivor says it should be easier for new users to edit and add things from the front end. Yeah, that would. Ivor, you saying it should, as in as your hope that it does, or you've looked at it and you think it's going to be easier? Oh, he hopes. Yeah, I just am working. I've always given people access to the back end of the site for doing their articles, and then my friend that I'm working on a site for, he's written a book, and he wants to just start out simply. So I thought, oh, I should just let him. I should create categories and just let him create content from the front end, from logging in. That should be pretty simple, and it was pretty simple. Now, my friend Sushil that was on before, and I don't know if he's still on now, I'm having a real hard time setting that up. And one of the things I wanted to do is for him to be able to add products logged into the front end, add products to the shopping cart on J2 Store. And that's, I have not achieved success in that. So I have to contact them, see if that's possible. But then again, I put off a lot of things because I've been trying to. I had to just sit down and open up a ticket with cPanel so I could get 7.1 working on my one server there. So I was really nervous about changing that server over too, because if it tanked, then I was going to be spending. I would not have gone to bed yet, probably, but. Alrighty, well, so I do not know. Hey, let me just Let me just see. I can read that message. I'll see if I know what tomorrow's main Watch Me Work live stream is going to be. Do 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 do. Oh, all he said was hi, so I don't have any information. We will see. I'll do something tomorrow. We'll do something on Watch Me Work live stream. And hopefully my computer will not crash. It'll be interesting to see how I cobble this together. If this ends up being 2 feeds, I'll probably just publish them both, and because I think this view in the chat's been really good, and then I can just make an ugly thumbnail telling everyone that the feed was broken. This is part 2. Oh, I could, yeah. Who knows? We'll see. That's the one thing I miss about YouTube annotations. You used to be able to put a note in that would pop up at a certain point, and you could clarify or explain what was going on. They stopped doing that because they didn't work on mobile, and they're talking about even getting rid of all the old annotations, but they may create a new drop down that fills up a screen with a note for people to update information. So anyways, so what screen do I want? This one here.
I don't know.
That's the one I want there.
Pick a screen.
Ivor's saying as you can do an SB page builder for front-end users to edit and add things.
You know, and that's one thing I do like about Joomla over other CMSs, like, for example, WordPress, because we talk about them a lot, is that the front end ability to edit the site is available.
Yeah.
You don't have to log into the back end.
Is it not in WordPress?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
That I know of. I think in order to add any sort of article, I mean, core-wise, I'm sure there's extensions that allow it, but as far as I know, core-wise, there is no way of doing it. But I could be wrong. I do not spend a lot of time in WordPress. I know enough just to start a war.
Every Joomla user knows enough to start a war with WordPress.
I did read a nice article, and I'll have to find it sometime, that actually compared Joomla, WordPress, and Drupal. But one of the points of the article was that it's not about what is better. It's about what's better suited.
Yeah.
You know, and Joomla is, most people agree that Joomla is pretty much, yes, WordPress is very heavy back end, no front end. Okay, so good. Thank you, John. Confirming my onward hatred of WordPress. We will not get started on the way their back end is set up. But what I was saying is that Joomla, for a lot of people who are reviewing it, is very much of a middle ground, where WordPress is very simple for a lot of people, and Drupal is great for complex websites. And Joomla is basically kind of like that best of both worlds, where you can build a very simple website, or you could build a more complex website. But the article was really saying is that, and this is something some of us really got to take to heart, that, yeah, while we're not great with WordPress, or we don't like WordPress a lot of ways, there are some values of WordPress. WordPress is a blogging platform.
Yeah. And it can't be running that many sites and not be good at what it's providing.
Right, but I think you got to pick the tool that's best suited for what you're building. If you're building just a one-page website that displays a business's name and maybe contact information, do you need a full Joomla install for that? Probably not. You know, you might just make a static HTML page if that's all they need.
No.
If they need a little bit more, if they're just doing a blogging site, that's all they want to do is blog. WordPress might be a better option for you if you don't want more. Now, however, there's that thing where you leave it open. What I like to tell people is if you're just looking for a blogging website and that's all you ever want to do, yeah, go with WordPress. However, if you want to start blogging now and then later you want to incorporate maybe a shopping cart or a gallery or something, you might want to consider doing something that will allow some more flexibility as you grow.
Yeah.
And for me, Joomla is that the ability to be flexible in what I want to do.
Yeah. The name WordPress and the brand WordPress has become synonymous with so many people with blogging and with certain things. Because I think we've all run into people who said, well, I want to start a blog, or they say I have a WordPress site, but I also want to start a blog, and you say, it's just you're just adding content, you're just adding articles. So you can have a blog in Joomla. Oh, you can? Yeah, because it's just like a diary. You're making pages and putting on the site. So, so in that sense, when they through their hosting or through their free sites, so many people just go to WordPress for that. And then, of course, there's so many people that are just doing that. They talk about it, and it's the name they know. Like I'm in a YouTube forum, a Facebook group for bosses, and it's based on YouTube. But it's like, what should I use for my website? And then everyone say, oh, you use WordPress, get this, and that's what they know, and so it has quite a bit of momentum, word of mouth, and branding too. So.
WordPress, I always have felt have a better marketing department than Joomla does. They've marketed their brand very well,
Yeah.
and it's become a very common word in our English language. Where Joomla is, when you say Joomla, most people don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, even I say, well, I design websites in Joomla. And I say, have you heard of WordPress? And they say, yes. I said, well, it's software that does the same thing,
but better.
Yeah. Well, yes, and that's if you are defining what you do by explaining something else, you're actually probably helping people to value the other thing as well, right?
Yeah, but you got to start with where they are. You can't say, have you ever been to Australia? No. Have you ever been to Colorado? Well, it's like Colorado, but this is different.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been to Australia. I've never been to Colorado. So those are probably two awful examples. But, you got to start with what they know or what they're familiar with and just build upon it. I think one of the big things that separates Joomla from WordPress is the ACL. WordPress does not have an ACL like Joomla, especially when it comes to making custom ACLs. You can't make custom categories without a third-party plugin in WordPress at this time.
No.
You can't do it. There are plugins out there that allows you to do it, but when you're going that deep into something that security-wise, I'd rather make sure it's part of core, where it's been thoroughly tested. You don't know every third-party plugin out there, whether or not it's been tested. If the developer is using bad code, that's why the JED is a wonderful thing with their extension vulnerabilities list, and the fact that they have such a great way of reviewing extensions. And I tend to lean toward the people I'm familiar with. Like, for example, Regular Labs.
Yeah.
I have very full confidence in Peter's ability to, if something is broken, he's going to fix it. He's going to fix it fast, and he's going to push it really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, he pushes all of his changes quickly.
I mean, he talks like yeah, it's coming, it's coming,
Yeah, yeah,
it'll come down one day, and then as you pointed out earlier today that a change you asked them about, he made it sound like it would be like weeks down the road,
yeah.
and then it was like an hour or two.
Yeah, user action log. Yeah.
So
Alrighty. Well, thanks everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow for Watch Me Work live stream. Who knows what it'll be, but there's always plenty of work to do. So I'm sure we can. I'm sure there'll be something that we can watch and check into. Um, yeah. Thanks, Chuck, John,
you're welcome, Chuck.
Ivor, Vinny.
John, we're looking forward to that.
Oh yes, John. Can you type in chat the name of that? Your extension next week. That's.
I'm really eager about this extension.
I think it was Hackameta, if I remember right. Because I closed the chat before last week before I actually wrote it down on a piece of paper.
Hodo.
Hoto Meta. Okay.
Hello, Hoto.
All right. Yeah, that's going to be great. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for hanging out. It was good and great as usual, and we'll catch you tomorrow. If not, we'll catch you next week. So until next time, enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless.